Right, morning guys. So, welcome back to NZ Mopar Outlaw Kustoms. I probably shouldn't say my name occasionally, shouldn't I? My name's Glenn. I just forget about it. Most people know, but a lot of people probably don't. But anyway, this morning I'm still working on this taillight stuff and a few other bits and pieces. I've got that, I think I showed you in the last, and yesterday, that piece that we found that goes in the front, underneath the motor support and underneath the front of the engine. Must set up against the sump there. So I've got that. I've sort of cleaned a lot of crap off it. I've actually got it soaking in the parts wash in that, just in that solution, just to try and loosen up that the greasy sort of film that's on it. Anyway, I've got the bolts here. I need to run the tap through their nuts and stuff like that. I've given them a sandblast and wire wheel, but just some of the nuts just won't go back on there very nicely. But I'd sort of give a bit of a shout out to a new channel that I've stumbled across in the last few days. I think I've covered this before in another video, but I'll show it a bit better. I'll just leave it out of the other video. But it's Rat Rods for Africa. Now this guy's name is Diff. I presume that's a nickname, I'm guessing. But this is his channel here. He builds a lot of, just obviously collects a lot of old stuff that's floating around over in the South Africa somewhere. He's down in that bottom part, obviously. I don't know how close to the coast he is, but I was talking to him and he mentioned a town that he sort of lived near, I guess, but he said I'm out in the bush. So yeah, he's got a really cool channel. Got a lot of, obviously quite a good wee workshop there. But yeah, he builds a lot of rat rods and bits and pieces. His channel looks like it's might have been going for a sort of year or almost two sort of thing. But yeah, he builds some cool stuff, you know. And again, not a guy that's got a lot of tools. He's got a lathe, but he doesn't have an English wheel or anything like that. So it's amazing what you can make in the bits and pieces that he builds some quite cool things. Like this Chevy 51 Chevy that he's building here is on an early 90s little tour drive Nissan chassis, like little Nissan Navara truck chassis, just a two-wheel drive one, and motor. And it's got a 51 Chevy cab on it and front fenders or guards, and the hood he made out of a early English 50s Commer truck, and then he built it split because it was kind of this about the right shape at the front, but it was way too wide and wasn't anywhere near long enough. So he split it and turned it into a you know, like something you would have found in like 20s or 30s hood, and then extended it and yeah, built it like it's a freaking cool truck. I've just been watching him do chops and bits and pieces, and yeah, clever guy, well worth a watch. He's got about 3,000 subscribers odd. He gets some good views. He does. The actually just about gets more views than he's got subscribers, so on a regular basis. So he's doing well. But yeah, well worth a watch if you haven't come across it. So that's Rat Rods for Africa. Definitely well worth a watch. And he's got some good humour, you know. And he's out there collecting old bits and pieces and trucks. And like he found one of his videos, I was just flicking through stuff. He found an old F250 high wheel four-wheel drive thing. Like it was pretty rough and rotten, but you know, there was a lot of bits on it that he could use. Looks like it's got a small block 350 in it, which he's going to pull out and rebuild and use for something else. You know, I think the body was pretty stuffed, but you know, there was a lot of bits and pieces he can use. You know, just stuff he can grab and use and whatever. But yeah, awesome channel. It's actually the first one old truck in that area of the world. You know, you get like a lot of stuff from Australia and UK and New Zealand and England, but and States and Canada and stuff like that, but I haven't struck many channels from Africa, so it's cool to watch. So yeah, well worth going having a look. Like I actually sat down last night because it was Friday night last night. I think I sat down for about 2 or 3 hours and just flicked through his videos. They're all about 20 odd minutes long, you know, thereabouts, give or take. Yeah, you know, it was definitely a good way to fill in a freaking 3 or 4 hours, you know. just sitting there with your feet up. But yeah, well worth a watch, well worth a watch. Yeah, so anyway, I'll carry on. I'll clean up some bits and pieces. When I'll come back when I've dug that thing out of the sauce, and I'll give it another clean up, and I'll try and give it a sandblast if I can. I was meant to pick up some freaking ash this morning before I come to work, but I went to jump out in the car. We've had a lot of rain and wet, so it's been cold, but it hasn't been freezing. But yeah, woke up this morning and it must have half pissed down overnight and then cleared up. So the car was took me like 20 minutes to thaw the windscreen out because it was that much rain and ice on it. Well, it didn't take that long, but you know what I mean. By the time I started up, let it run for a while and scrape the shit off. And yeah, so I sort of forgot about it after that. That's all good. I'll get some parts cleaned up and we can hit some Monday. It should be right. Or if I get a chance before 12, I'll go grab a can, but should be right. And then we can spray them up some other time. But we'll get some parts cleaned up anyway. This little scrub, I just pulled it out of the old sieve there. Just dry that off a little bit, and we'll come back here shortly. Righty, clean up a little bit so you can see my head. So I've finally got this frickin' thing reasonably cleaned up. Been a bitch of a thing to try and frickin' get clean. I really need some new media for that thing. It just won't flow anymore. It's too much dust and dirt and shit in it. So yeah, I've got this reasonably cleaned up. And it's, as you can see, it's got a few extra windows in it. It's not too bad, but it really needs a patch in here. Just not quite sure how much because it is pretty pitted out and evened into here. That needs a bit in here, and it needs a bit into here because there's a couple of holes out here too. I think the other side appears to be pretty solid, and this seems to be, I wouldn't say solid, but it's pretty reasonable. Like this piece seems to be okay. Just seems to be yeah, this end of it and this bit of it here. So yeah, I just need to figure out whether I try and just weld it up and just try and fill it with the welder and just grind it off, or whether I cut a patch out. I'm probably going to have to put maybe a small patch in here, but hopefully the rest I might be able to just weld up. For what it is, be nice to fill the holes up and just clean it up and just, you know, give it half a chance of frickin' carry on for the next 100 years. Well, that's all the rust that got it in 100 years, or it should be fine for the nearest stuff, you know what I mean? This is just a bit of a patch up. Yeah. I think we'll try and weld these up. And maybe, I think this will just blow away. So we might just have to put a little square of steel in there. I think the rest will be okay with just a, hopefully we zap up. And hopefully we can get them to fill. And then I'll try and have another go at sandblasting it, because I've taken it with a wire wheel. I put one of those old frickin' ends of one of those frickin' scotchy prads for me, just to try and clean a bit more shit off there, to get it half clean to frickin' play with and weld. Just all that greasy oil and shit was taking a bit of moving, especially when the media just won't flow anymore. I think she's buggered. So yeah, but we'll give it a, I think we'll fill some holes. It shouldn't take too long, maybe. See how we get on over here, eh? Righty, so that's that piece repaired. It's not perfect, but it doesn't really need to be. It's like it's fucking in the bottom of the engine bay, like you're not even going to see it. I probably will, if I can use that texture spray I've got there, I might hit it with a bit of that after I etch it and whatever, if that'll still spray, and then we'll spray a bit of black, rattle can black over it. I think I just might give it a little extra protection. You know, just make it last a bit longer just in case, you know, with its few extra thin spots. It'll just help protect it a little bit better. But yeah, like if it's lasted that well, and only that with those few holes, you know, last 100 years almost, you know, what's 4 years between friends? Or 5 years just about now. Yeah, it's, you know, it's close. So yeah, I'll just give it a clean up. Quick, I might give it another quick sand blast or media blast. Try and get that surface a bit more cleaner. And yeah, we'll hit it with some next Monday probably. And whatever. Actually, no, I might. If I shoot away now, because I might do a bit more work tomorrow because I missed frickin' half a Monday and Tuesday. I might shoot away and grab a rattle can of each, and then I can carry on with a few bits and pieces. So yeah, but anyway, it's repaired, ground up, cleaned up, and well, at least it's, you know, hasn't got any holes in it anymore, so we'll give it another quick sand blast, and you know, might shoot away and grab some etch before the shop closes up, and charge my phone. Right, so I painted the bolts. I'm going to give them another quick coat in a minute. Let's turn their nuts over. This is all these bolts for that little bracket that bolts on here, minus the end ones, and those ones will have to drill in because they've been filled in. So yeah, that there now has a really nice, good thick coat of texture coat on it, so that'll be well protected for obviously, you know, a little bit of pitting, but it's going to get a bit of a hammering. Well, not necessarily, but you know what I mean. It's down in that area where it's likely to get possibly hammered in bits and pieces from maybe stones and crap and whatever. You know, it's one of those vulnerable areas, I guess you want to call it, down underneath there, and so, you know, a good thick coating of that will just help prevent damage, I guess, you know. But for some reason it does happen to be doing a lot of miles on like an unsealed road or something like that. We would call it a gravel road here, unsealed road. So, which is a possibility if it does go to do that Paris to Peking thing. I couldn't imagine all the roads they'd be running on would be sealed. In that part of the world, in some places, like it's hard to know, but yeah. So that's had a nice good thick coating. So it should be fairly well protected now. And once we finish that, I'll give it a good coat of paint when we paint some stuff. I'm just a half boy. I don't know whether I should paint with 2-pack or just flick a bit of rattle can on it. That's probably not going to make a lot of difference, but that's just rattle can. That's just rattle can, so yeah. You know, I don't need freaking shiny gloss black on everything, you know. That's all stuff that's not really seen. That's at the back of the motor. Oh no, it's at the back of the motor, in between the motor and the sump, so, in the gearbox, so it might get a little bit of gravel rash back there, but for all it is, it's in good nick anyway, so I don't think it's ever going to be an issue. That's the pin that holds the, between the cowl and the bonnet, you know, a couple of decent coats and rattle can, and it'll be fine for what it's doing. So I'll just give these a quick spray again. Just so they got some decent protection on them, you know, not open to elements. The edge, you know, you should give them decent, you know, the paint decent grip so it's not going to fall off in, you know, first 15 minutes. Give this another coat. So I put one on this. So yeah. I'll give this another coat too, because I don't think I've only given this a couple of coats. It's got a little bit of overspray on that other shit on it, but I was trying to spray it on there, but it's just awkward when you're trying to turn it over to the other side and it's still a bit sticky because it's cool. But yeah, if the weather was nice and warm, or I didn't virtually run out of diesel, so I couldn't keep the heater going, keep the temperature up, so it took a little bit longer to go off, but it's a fucking cloudy, fucking cool day. Anyway, I don't think we're going to hang around here too much longer. Just, I wanted to get those couple bits and pieces on the next step, if you know what I mean. We are definitely running out of stuff to do. Yeah, not sure. Need to find out what the frick's going on with this gearbox, because I'd desperately have to frickin' put the thing in the hole. Yeah, and then we can move on with a lot more other stuff, you know. We can mess around with a lot of the brake linkages, you know. We don't have to hook the wheels up, but we can sort all that shit out, you know. We can sort a lot of other stuff out. Yeah, and one of these days, shortly, when I'm finished mucking around with all the other little bits and pieces, and just double check everything, we'll get everything ready for the final onslaught of paint, and just work out all the last little bits and pieces. So yeah, we're getting close to that stuff. It's just a matter of freaking just working out all these last little bits and pieces. Because I can't. I'm sort of halfway at a standstill with this again now, because the socket, I'd like to know how long that wiring kit's going to be so I know what to do here. I was actually talking to Dad about that. He said they were really common on a lot of stuff back then, but he said it's to find the proper thing now. But if we do happen to use this, we could probably make a contact thing up. Like I could probably turn up a little bit of nylon or something similar, some sort of like that, turn that up or something like that. Drill a couple of holes in it, put some pins through to hook a little bit of wiring on, solder that on, and then just find something that we can push in there to hook into these. Whether we can find a little, I don't know, find some little brass screws or something like that we can, or something that we can screw in that's not terribly long but still going to hold and go around and clip in the pins. Like, you know, you could put like a big pin through it, but then you're interfering with the contacts, if you know what I mean. So you got to try and go around them. So yeah, just a couple of little short screws or something that we can just make a little socket to push in there and lock in, and then it's got the cables that come out the back with a couple of decent contacts in the front of it. There's plenty of ways around something that it's just, if this kit comes with a lot of the plugs and clips and bits and pieces for this stuff, well, we won't have to worry about it. But, you know, it's just deciding what to do. Do we alter it and modify it and then the kit turns up and you don't have to, or, you know, I guess at this, you know, at this point, like, it's lasted, you know, 100 fucking years now. I'm sure it's been inside the last 20, but, well, it's probably been undercover for the last 20, but, you know, like, it survived at least 80 years or thereabouts. So, you know, if you're reusing it with original sort of type stuff, it's probably going to last that long. Either that, or we can put some sort of modern weather socket on it. You know, we can put a bit of electrical grease on these bits, you know, so it doesn't corrode up and help keep it a wee bit more weather sealed. I could possibly put a little bit of heat shrink around the outside of that, you know, just to help with things, you know, like I'm just thinking, you know, to stop it from rusting in the tube, all sorts of stupid things, you know. There's lots of little things you could do, so we'll sort that out. But yeah, I'd just like to, be interesting to know what's on this wiring loom kit. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't take too freaking long to get here. So we can keep moving forward with these bits and pieces. Either we're going to have to clear some shit out of here and I'm going to have to get this out of the freaking Dodge in here and start pulling it apart. But man, I would like to fucking bolt that shit on. That's my biggest hang up, because that's where I want to put the parts off the Dodge, if you know what I mean. Bring the car in here, like even if it's parked in there, and just pull the parts off, all the big stuff off, sit it down there, and then I can start working on it. You know, I don't mind if this is in here, but I mean, it's just nice to have that shit off the ground, 90% of it on there, you know, and then you can cover it while you're making dirt and shit and scraping paint off and whatever else you're doing, you know. It can still be in here, but it'll be nice just to have that space to work on it. But anyway, so, yeah, well, I think we'll bugger off. It's no point me being here for another freaking hour when I'm just mucking around puddling with stuff. I don't think, you know, like, I've got bits and pieces I can do, like, but I'm sort of trying to decide what I'm doing next, if you know what I mean. What I approach. Yeah, so just contemplating what I'd start chasing next. Because you've all got that taillight stuff's basically done, apart from painting that and sorting out the electrical. That motor bracket piece is sorted now. Got those other few little bits painted. I got the bonnet hold downs, the handle bits for the hold downs. I've got all them cleaned up and etched, ready for paint. Like, there's some priming to stuff to be done with some of these bits. There's a little bit of priming to do with some of these other pieces, but not terribly critical at the moment. Like, it's most of them are only going to get a couple of, I'll probably blow 2 or 3 coats on them and give them a rub back, and we'll paint them. Most of it's not a highly seen thing, like that's not a desperate thing. That'll be pretty nice with a couple of coats and a quick rub back. Half of it's covered with, you get the number plate, you're only really going to see that. The light hangs at the other side of it. These here are in good nick, so a couple of coats and them are a decent rub back, they'll be nice and fine. This here, you know, we'll maybe do a little bit of body filler work just to hide a little bit of the poorest bits. This is going to be way underneath it, so you're not really going to see that. These little doodads, they just really just need a quick prime and a coat of black. You know, we'll put the 2-pack on them. They're probably going to get chipped and scratched and knocked anyway, with being in the place that they are, with the doors opening and closing, body flicks around, so they're probably going to get chipped anyway. But that I would like to paint with 2-pack, but I would like to, I should take that round to Mum and Dad's one of these days. I'll talk to Dad and I'll take it round to him and see if, because he might have a bit more of an idea how to test it a bit better, because I'm not used to dealing with, I understand how it works, but like, he's just done so much that old truck stuff and whatever. Just get him to help me to test it and make sure it is going to work properly. Yeah, so we're kind of getting through the nitty-gritties. We've got this stuff to give a quick clean up in each. I'm not going to take it off, I'm just going to hang some paper around it, because we're going to etch it, when I'm doing the satin black, we'll just give it a wee dusting in around there, and for the majority it's not going to hurt. If it gets a wee bit of overspray back over the other stuff, we'll have to give this a clean before we do that. Same with down here, we're going to touch that up. I will mask that out. Same back there with the chassis. So yeah, there's a little bit of paint on it, but yeah, we're really getting down to the nitty gritty. I'm actually fucking, those headlight bolts things are pissing me off. I would like to get them back so I can at least fix those brackets, so I know they're ready to go on the headlights when they get back here after being nickeled. I'm fucking just about at the point I'm going to make them bastards myself. They've got they're good machines and stuff down there. I thought it'd be damn sight easier for them to fucking make it, but I just can't do it my bloody self. Some of those little jobs, I know they take a little bit to working out, but I've had them fucking months. It just annoys me. It's little jobs that I could have had, something else I could have had half done, ready to paint. Because I'd like to paint that stuff too. Paint those inner brackets and everything that go in the headlights so they're not, rusty and corroding. Like I've got to do, I've got to weld this back on here. And the same with the other one, because it's been broken out to pull the bolts, and so that's going to be clamped down and tacked so the bolt can't fall out. But anyway, we'll carry on. We'll catch you later on. Thanks for watching. Not sure if this is the end of the video or not, but please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all those sorts of things. Leave a comment. Much appreciated. I think we're almost 1,070 subs, getting close to it. So it's awesome. Thanks for all the new people coming along. And we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. Yeah, so alrighty guys, so I've decided I'm going to push the bearings off. So I've already got the retainer off this one. So we're going to push this bearing off. I've actually already done the other side. Get this off, and then we'll get the press set up to push them back on again. We'll go find the bearings anyway. Got them over here on the bench. So I warmed the place up in here for a minute, but yeah, I need to put some more diesel in the heater. I'm just about out, so I've got that at least one coat on there. I was wanting to keep the freaking heater on for a bit longer to spray it another couple of coats, but it is what it is. So there's one of these, so I've got to push the race off, and then I've got the other one. Here, that's another one. So that's the other one. I've got a couple of them floating around. So that one will do. Right, so which ones are what? Some of these are fronts and some of them are backs. So I'll go get the other bearing. And Arco, actually, I think there's two that take me. I'm sure these are just. I'm sure that's what the T stands for. Tapered bearing. Yeah. Because these are actually tapered on the inside, not straight. I'm pretty sure it's these. I'll give the shaft a clean up. Give it a quick run around the wire wheel on the bench grinder. Pretty sure these are tapered. Just double check. 37.5 roughly millimeters on the back side, and about 35.6 on the front side. So I'll just compare it with this just to make sure we do have the right thing before I do design. Yep, it's definitely these. Yep, spot on. Sweet. Right. I'll give those the axle shafts a quick clean up, and we'll get the press set up, and we'll push them on, and then we'll put the tapers in here. And actually, I had to weld that one out too, didn't I? We'll have to do that again. We'll have to see. I'm pretty sure that's the one I welded out. So I couldn't get it out. And what I mean by welded it out is I had to weld the plate in the centre, because I've had no way of getting in here to push it out. There's no, the lip's on a really stupid angle. There's no, what do I call it? No indentation to punch in on. I don't know whether I should modify it and have it so I can get in there to punch. I don't know if it's worth doing that or not. But yeah, I may have to do that again with this one. Maybe I could actually just leave this and just put a couple of gentle tacks in from the outside and then push it out maybe. We'll see. As long as we're using this again. Right, let's clean up the axles. I'll get the other one, I'll set the other one on, and then we'll work out the, look at getting these cleaned up and punched in there, and then we'll make up a seal. I've actually got the other one of those over there with the clips and bits and pieces. I was actually just looking, I don't know, I can't do anything about it, but well, I don't know if you can. So we'll see if I can position the camera so you can. Right? I'm just looking at this. That's a field seal, and so is the one behind it. So I've actually, well, I don't know. I don't know whether I need to pull this out or not, because there's a seal on the outside of it as well. It comes up against the, and you screw the nut in there to hold the bearing in. What a crazy setup. Look, it does look like that comes out. But what a frickin' shit of a setup. It's probably an overkill, you know what I mean? Hopefully I don't have to fuck around and take that out. Because when I was cleaning this out, I didn't realise that was a seal. I just thought it was like a, you know, a space that was to try and hold oil or something, but interesting. So there's actually a fucking seal in there. Oh, we might, if it leaks, well, we might have to dive into that at some point. That'll be fun. Right. Since I just discovered that there's 2 inner seals in that diff, I'm a little bit worried about these leaking. I don't know. I'm going to go have a look. Biggest problem is nothing. There's nothing to hold that in there, apart from that retainer ring, and it's not very deep. I just don't wonder if it's worth trying to see if there's a modern seal that will push in there. No, I wonder if it's worth looking and have a wee look. Like the felt seal would be good. You know, they work fine, but yeah, because there's actually 3 fucking seals in that diff housing on each side. Obviously to stop the oil from coming out. You know, I don't really want to start pulling those inner ones out. They're a bit of a pain in the fucking ass to work on, to be honest. Yeah, and once you start pulling it out, and if I damage the little metal retainers, get them in there, then we'll try and repair them as well. I just wonder if it's worth. I might take these, because this one's still got the seal in it. Take these and just see if there's a modern seal that will slip in there. We might better just get away, take that retainer and clip out and just leave it out. You know, and just push the seal in there. That's about the right diameter. You know, it's worth trying, you know what I mean? That might be a better way to go. So what do you measure? 69.5, 70 mils. There, on the outside. Just over 50, 51 on the inside. So okay. Right. Got these rubbing over here. So yeah, this here. This one comes up against here, and the seals. So let's have a quick measure on here. As long as it slips over that snugly, that thing loose. Damn it. Bucket. That got to be on equal. Yeah. Well, what I might do is take all 3 bits with me. That'll tell us whether it'll fit on the inside. Which I probably don't really need that one, do I? I'll take that one from the end. And that. We'll see what we can find, We'll see what we can find. I just think it might be a better idea. And if this is coming up against it, at least the oil's not going to piss out of the diff. Might just save a mess. I think we're good with that, you know, with that pinion one. I had that fairly snug. I think we're pretty good, but this is, yeah, don't really want oil around the brakes. if that leaks, you know, we can deal with that. You know, it might make a mess, but it's not stopping you from stopping like they are. There are only brakes on these things, so we need to concentrate and dry. Right, so myself another camera. See. Right, so we found a seal that will work. It fits in there pretty nicely, and it's in there perfectly. So I'll clean these up, fit these in there, and yeah, we'll screw them back in with axles once we get the the tapers in them, and we'll just put a bit of grease in around the bearings, I guess, because I'm not sure how much oil is going to come through to them, so we'll put some grease in them, just because of the way they're set up, if you know what I mean. But this should solve any of my problems with oil coming through and then getting onto the brakes. Nothing worse than that happening. And I just don't like the chances of me getting in there and getting those inner seals, you know, right and without damaging everything. So this is going to be way better, easy, and easy to replace. You know, and it's a 75mm, or sorry, 70 and 50mm seal. So probably as common as mud. So yeah, I don't need this anymore, so I got to put that back. Righty, so I've welded that other piece, the other bearing shell with the bearing, with that plate in it, to this bearing from the inside. So now I'm going to try and push that out, and hopefully it holds. Otherwise I'll just have to draw and do it a bit better, but hopefully that's enough to get that out. Right, so out. You can see what I did there. So yeah, we'll give these a clean up, both of them a clean up. A good parts wash and scrub, and I'll probably throw them in the blasting cabinet and just give them a decent, half decent clean. So I can, not that you really paint much, but I might just maybe just flick a little bit of etch on the end of it or something like that. You might flick a little bit of etch and just a little bit of paint on there, just quickly, if you know what I mean. Just one wee flick of etch and just one wee flick of paint, just so it's not raw steel on the outside and behind the wheel and the brake drum, because it is exposed to the elements a little bit. So yeah, just try and keep it as least rusty as possible. So yeah, that worked perfectly. So now we'll have a bigger splash if you're pushing something out. Well, it's cleaned up, and yeah, make them look pretty-ish for what it is. Put the seals in it, put down the bearing on the other axle, and these will be ready to go permanently when they reload with the rest of it. And we'll just leave these loose in the meantime, but should be beautiful. Righty, so I'll just learn something. Unfortunately, I have to go get another seal. I thought I should have been able to push the seal right down into the bottom, but it just won't go, unfortunately. I tried to push this one and then it collapsed on me. I was using an old cup, what do you want to call it, bearing in this washer, which is almost the right size, but not quite. I was trying to use the tool to push it in. But yeah, I end up freaking going all wonky on me, because it sort of slipped down in there, and then I had it in square for a start off, and then when I tried to push it in a bit deeper, because I had it in about this far, and I could see there was still a gap underneath it, and I was like, oh, I'll push it, see if I can get it right down in the back of the base. But it must be, I don't know, it must be slightly tapered or something. It just wouldn't go in. So I'm not going to force that one. I'll just have to go get another frickin' seal, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, but you live and learn. Like, we're trying to adapt something here anyway. It was either that or it's catching. Looks like there's another little lip there. It might have been holding on that lip possibly, you know, was sitting up on that lip and catching and just wouldn't go past it. So yeah, anyway, I think that should be alright. I think that should be okay, hopefully. If not, we'll find out. But yeah. So, we'll have to get another 70 by 50 mil seal. But, you know, what do you do? It's been a long time since I've destroyed a seal. Yeah, anyway. Been a long time since I've done that. But, yeah, I was thinking, oh, you should better push that back in there further. But yeah, now that I look at that, yeah, I reckon it was catching on that piece. Or something. Something wasn't just, it was just, didn't want to go in. Almost looks like it was machined. It's had a slight lip there, but not round there, or something. Yeah, it was holding. But anyway, yeah, we'll just push it into there, and hopefully that works. You know, I can't do much more than try it, otherwise we've got to go back to a felt seal, but I think that should be okay. Once we get it on there and whatever. It should be good. It should be good. It should be good. You know, I probably should have put a bit of freaking lube around it too. Would have mightn't have hurt, but we will carry on. I've etched that. I'm going to give that a quick coat of black. I'm not going to worry about painting these black. I might do that when we're sort of a bit closer to putting wheels on, or when we're touching up around here. I'll wrap a bit of freaking tape around there and just mist a little bit of that black on when we're touching up a little bit of shit. But yeah, anyway, I'll carry on and sort some stuff out, and yeah, we'll do some more. But that's unfortunate, but you know, live and learn sometimes. Because I haven't got any seal drivers either. I actually need to buy. You know, it's one of those things you just, you know, you freaking. I thought that would have been good enough, but it was just, I was obviously catching there and just push past it instead of pushing it in, you know. But anyway, one of those things. We'll carry on. Right, so I got the axle and everything back in there, packed full of grease. Same around the other side. I've done that. I've just got to get the other seal on, and then we'll pop that in there. I'll just wind the cap back out and pop it on, then just wind it back in again. It's going to have to come back out again anyway to put the diff head and everything in once we finalise that stuff and get it painted and whatever. So yeah, it's kind of, I haven't really done a lot today, just mucking around, fluffing around with this stuff, getting it cleaned up and whatever, and screwing up a seal. And yeah, it's just the way they work, you know. Obviously not meant to have a seal in there, and it just didn't want to drive right back, and it must slowly get tighter as it gets into the back, and it just didn't want to. So yeah, we'll just keep it on the outsides, and if for some reason it fights us, or we might just have to go back to felt. But I've still got all the bits, you know, so we can soon cut some felt seals and put in there if we have to. But you know, we'll try this first, because it's bound to be better, you know what I mean. We shouldn't get any leaking axles anyway, you know. You know, and it'll save screwing around with all those inner frickin' felt seals. If we don't have to, we'll just leave them alone, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'll just put another coat of paint on that. I drilled the holes in that earlier, because that's been replaced, that side. This is still original. It's been replaced by the looks of it, so yeah. I lined all the holes up and marked them and drilled them for this. For when it goes underneath here. So they all line back up once you give it a wheel around and get it in the right place. But so that's all good to go for putting that on and putting the engine on when we get there. I actually thought that there might have sat on top of that, but it doesn't. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, I'll have to go get another of those, unfortunately. I don't think they're terribly dear, so it's not a big loss. It's a pain in the arse, so live and learn, you know, especially when you're trying to adapt something. Possibly one of those things I probably should have popped it in the lathe and just squared the back of the brace out, but it shouldn't make any difference. It shouldn't make any difference. If we have any issues, we'll just have to... I've got another set of cups if we really had to, like another set of things. Oh, mind you, I don't want to pull the bearings out, do I? But they're in there now. Yeah, so if worst comes to worst, we could always sit it in the lathe, grab it from the outside and just, you know, take the tool into the corner and just square it up and then try and put one of these in, if you know what I mean. If it happened, that does happen to be an issue. A bit of a pain in the arse, but just, you know. Anyway, I don't think I've got much else to tell you at the moment. We'll carry on.